This video is powered by LearnToPlay.live, the only hardware synth performance course. Register now and enjoy 40% off.
Rhythm is the most important element in groove techno. This is cool when you're DJing. It becomes even better when you're playing live because you've got so much control over every different element. You are in charge. It's a perfect storm between various instruments, various modules, and technological advancements. If you are going to set yourself up to do that thing and create a wowing effect on your floor, how do you create it? What do you need? The way the groove is being laid out, it's more of a form of syncopation, you might say. Afterbeats, counter rhythms, call and response. Techno is evolving. I will only use 2 different elements. And to make it even more complicated, I'm only going to do this in 3 easy to follow steps. Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff sitting on the desk. Today the DFAM makes its reappearance again. There is a 1010 black box that makes a reappearance now. How I set it up, pretty simple. The 1010 black box is a sampler. Samples are coming from here. Much like Ableton, I can launch samples and they will play. This is for the ear candy, step number 3. Step number 2 is going to be melodic content coming from the Poly Cinematic, which is a polyphonic 6-voice synthesizer by Nobula, and then also there's the Echo Cinematic, which is an effect unit also by Nobula. The kick is coming from Shackmat. The battering ram and sounds like this, and that's a really, really cool kick. I can do different things with it. Longer kicks, shorter kicks, more overdriven kicks, even more overdriven kicks, a little bit of depth or less depth, so you can hear that within a flick of a button or a turn of a knob, I get the shape, the sound of the kick. Why is that important? Say you get to a venue, all venues sound different, is something you really need to take into consideration. So having a set it and forget it kick might not work in all different environments. So you'll need something of a flexible instrument, which is this. There's pitch. There's even some locking the pitch, which is even greater. So if I find my tune, I can set it. I wished that something like that existed on the DFAM, because I've tuned a bass line coming from the DFAM. Yes, I made it work, but you should not ever tweak the frequency knob, because then you're going to lose the pitch. Now, a few things in this first element, in the first step of making our track, is we've got our kick, and we need something that propels our groove forward. So that bass line, let's talk about that. Let's turn off the heads first. So you can hear a nice, almost old school style bass line, right? Now, what I love about the DFAM, that it does 3 things at once. It modulates, it elevos, it just does a lot of stuff. And that's all to do with the pitch setting and the velocity setting. So I'm not going to tamper with those. I found a way to start this loop, because if you stop it, it will just go into a counter rhythm. So where it starts is also very important. The clock is coming from the Sitka module sitting right here. So that's sending out clock. And then in turn, it sends out clock to the Monopoly over here. So the DFAM is sending clock to the Monopoly and triggering the arpeggio. There's an arpeggio playing here, which doesn't do anything, but then I can set it to, as you can hear, I'm flicking the pitch bend knob here. So I've got the filter engaged to the pitch bend, where I can do it here as well. And I don't have to hold it, because I've got the arpeggio on latch. So as you can hear, nice. Also, I've got the Strymon Blue Sky sitting on a send. So I get to send some reverb, as you can hear. Cool, all good. Now, let's turn off our ARP, that's for later. So we've got this thing going. This is already grooving. I need stuff to work from the get-go. It needs to work immediately. So if I've got my thing sitting here and I can't dance to it, probably I will not finish the track. I have to start dancing to this stuff in the beginning. So this I like. Let's open it up. So there's a little bit of noise on there. Let's accelerate it. So it becomes more and more crunchy. This is the sound. Pretty neat, pretty sweet. I need a little bit of grit. So now that we have that, if we need a little bit more space, this DFAM is going into the Echo Cinematic. I can open that up and you'll hear this. There you go. So you can make it dubby instantly. Nice, right? Cool. You need some sort of a hat. I think it's important to need that you have some sort of a hi-hat playing. So I will start with the short hat. The short hat is coming from this Nano Instruments module, the 808, a kick drum, a snare drum, a closed hat and an open hat. I'm not using the kick drum. The snare is also not playing, but what I'm going to do is, this is track number 3, which is the closed hat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the IntelliGel Steppy sequencer, there are 4 different lanes. I'm using them for the octa, for this little module right here. But the closed hat is taking care of open hat duties. That's not what I want. I want my closed hat to do 16ths, right? We'll get to that. So we've got this module sitting right here, this sound. Let's see where here. I'll go in and go for track 4. Nice. You can hear I've got this open 808 hat, and I'm going to accompany with the 16th coming from the closed that I'm going to program right now. Which means I'm going to, there we go. So now we got our little, let's put a little bit of reverb on the bass line. Nice. Now this works. I'm liking this, right? I can turn it up a little bit because the Cockpit 2 by Endorphins is my mixer. Now that I got this thing going, I'm liking it. This is something of a groove, something that already works. There's a snare drum. Let's shorten the notes here. Nice. Cool. Now, I'm liking this because this is, you know, something that I can dance to. I can play around with, you know, getting it dubby. I'm liking it, but I'm thinking this kick can be a little bit more aggressive, so I'm going to engage a little bit more of that drive. Nice, cool. So there's another hat that I have coming from the Percons, because at some point you need to just step it up a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll add more. And it's a bit of a brush, as you can hear. And what I do with that, I'll play around with this. So if I need more adrenaline, I can just like speed it up by giving it a little bit more of that vibe. So we've got our cool hats playing here. Nice. Okay, now one of the most important things to think of is, once you're going to start adding your different sound, that needs to not be in the way of the sound that's already playing. I've got my Polycinematic sitting here, a 6-voice polyphonic synthesizer, absolutely awesome. Now it needs to fit in the sound that is playing by the DFAM, so that you get a cadence, and when that is done properly, it means the track will always work. It's going to be an infinite loop, and that's what we're going to look for right here. So, and I'll start a little bit, you know, in the darkness with everything down, the filters down, and this thing is on chord mode. It's playing chords, it's chord select. Now, if the values are high or low, it plays different chords. You can tune it, and I've tuned these chords to be in the same key as what you're hearing right now. Right, so we're going to open up a little bit of the Nice. And this is what you do. You just play around with the filter, and obviously, to give it a little bit more space, there's a nice lush reverb on there. And the thing that I do, if I want to just elevate the track, I'll slowly engage more kick or more impact on the kick, even by giving it more drive, which you can hear right here. Keep going. Nice, right? Cool. I will engage a little bit of the sidechain. The sidechain works, listen. No sound. Cool. Okay, now we're going to play around with the sound some more. And you hear what I mean with this call and response. Da, 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 beep, beep. So the high note of the defend, this one, falls within the groove of the polycinematic. And because everything is like half LFO'd or really crazy in how it sounds, otherworldly, this one with the envelope depth, which makes it really, really, really analog sounding. I can play around also with the oscillators. There's different ways of this thing to play the polycinematic. Listen to this. Hiding behind the reverb, I've now changed the sound. Can detune it a little bit. This is also what I like, a little bit of that bit cross sound. So now you can even make percussive sounds. And if you wonder where the different groove and triggers are coming from, I'm triggering this from the gravity. The Sitka gravity is triggering the sound for the Nobula polycinematic sound. But why is it changing its chords all the time? It's changing its chords because of the pitch information that I'm sending from the IntelliGel into the chord blend. So the way this runs, usually if I will play around with the arpeggiated structure of this Metropolis sequencer, it will play different notes, but now it will just detect different chords, as you can hear. Listen to this. Bam, bam, bam. You can hear that there are different things happening now. You hear it. You hear? So now it does something different again. Which is nice. I think it's really cool. But I want that because of the nature of my bass line. Not too long. So between these two, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. They fit into one another, which is very important. Okay, back with the heads. This is the MAR, also by Nano Instruments, which is a mixer. And so I get to play around with different sounds. I can put a lot of different sounds on this mixer, and then I'll melt it into the Cockpit 2, which is the last step, which is a mono or stereo mixer, depending on how you set the jumpers on the back. And it can even be a send return mixer with channels 1 and 3 being locked and channels 2 and 4 being locked. So you'll send it on for one channel and get a return on the other one. It's really, really cool. I'm only using it as a mixer. So I've got one channel engaged for mono stuff, as you can hear. That's where all these drums are coming from, because all these separate drums, are mono, right? So there's octet ones, the 808s and the Percon's voice are mono. So I'm going to go in with just the one channel into the bottom channel 4, that I can mute here. But obviously this, your reverb, you would love to have that stereo, of course. So that goes into channel 1, and then this output of the Nobula Echo Cinematic goes into channel 2, same thing, which is also stereo. So that's basically how I set this up. So nice. What is the one thing that we're missing? So I've got step 1, drums and bass, step 2, my synth, and step 3 obviously will be ear candy. Now this is something that I think is pretty hard to accomplish within the setup that I've got right now. So I've got the 1010 black box doing a few things. I can tell it to play samples. I'm also going to figure out how the MIDI works on this thing as well, because there's some MIDI. Maybe I can stick my Minitar bass on there as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to tone it down a little bit. Maybe even get our heads to just be a little bit calmer. I'm going to turn you off. So the polycinematics off, and let's focus on ear candy, something like this. Let's open it up. Just something that is there to make you lose your shit on the dance floor, you know. Nice. And I've got that sitting on a filter, so if I want to make a little bit more of an impact, I can even muffle it up a little bit. And there's also a control in on the Acid Box 3, by the way, so if I want to send a trigger in here as well, I can, so that the LFO will be triggered, which is cool. Let's turn the kick off, so you can say with a little bit of LFO. You can hear it. You can do that melodic techno thing. Nice, right? So that's the modulation, which is cool. I tend to not go overboard with that stuff, you know, because it depends on what I want. So I'd rather stick samples on there that do that already, so that it's easy for me to just like know that if I launch something, it will do exactly what it is that I want it to do. There's even an ARP that I can stick on there as well. If I wanted to make it a little bit more melodic, but that's a different vibe. Probably the tempo will be slower, and then, you know, but this works, listen. But I think it's much to do with the... There's another one, so let's turn off the ARP and let's go for this one. So you hear there's a lot of just otherworldly, atmospheric, hypnotic vibes in there, right? Nice, okay. Shall we add our little organ back in? So you hear how this becomes something entirely different. And I love it because this black box vibe, it's cool. And I don't want to put it in too loud. It needs to be just there. You'll hear it, but it's okay. Let's focus on this bad boy right here. So you can make it very spacious if you want to. But the trick is within the poly cinematic, because this becomes very trancy, very fast. If you want to just keep this up, doesn't trip over. Let's turn off the black box and play around with this. Nice. So 2 octaves. And again, call and response. You hear the high notes of the chord playing. So, longevity of your track. If you want to make a bigger impact, of course, there's the oxymeta, so you can go in and play. One, two, three, go. So I guess that those are my fundamentals of groove techno. Let me know in the comment section whether you like it, yes or no. Okay, thanks for watching. 22nd of this month, we're going to do a webinar, and there's a few cats that I've got on board as well. Circo, Honey Smack, DJ Pierre, Della also. So we're going to talk about the fundamentals of the live performance, and I'm going to just like interview these cats, and they're going to give you a lot of insights, and it should get you on your road to starting on your own live set and doing it convincingly. LearnToPlay.live is what powers that webinar, and that's the one-stop shop for you to join this 32-week course. It's going to start in September. The last week of September is what we're aiming for to start, meaning you can be wherever you are in the world, because it's going to be this online environment. It's going to be streamed live, but the streams are always going to be available for you at your leisure. So see it like Netflix. You just tune in and check it out whenever you want to. Very simple. That's how we're going to do it. There's going to be access to my community, which is on Discord. So a lot of people will be available and ready for you to answer any questions you might have. After this video, we're going to do our video chat, which is cool, and you can get to it by going to patreon.com/analogkitchen. This concludes our broadcast day. If you made it this far into the video, you, sir or ma'am, are an absolute superstar. Thank you for watching. My name is Analog Kitchen, and I will catch you next week. You know where. Keep watching this space on another video. I'm out. Peace.